No invite just yet.
Apagando las luces. Ahorita regreso. See you later.
I'm
Double
disappointed. Rising uppercut.
Hello?
Ew.
Okay, cool. I'm
What'd you say? What does that mean on desk? Water to my stomach can burst. I'm at least happy to say we're back into Overwatch, going straight in with Busan. We've got some time to talk about these teams, especially before this match begins. So, hit us with it, Worst.
We're going to be watching some teams play down here on Busan, on Sanctuary, and we're going to probably be seeing ball comps or six men, perhaps from the sides of University of Hawaii. Perhaps, mayhaps, maybe that's a thing that happens for them. I think that's kind of where they're gonna go towards, is gonna be the ball comp or the six man. For DePaul, I actually haven't seen DePaul, much of DePaul at least, and I don't know what to expect from them. It's gonna be double shield. So I've gotten was right about University of Hawaii, but double shield is gonna be the answer coming out for DePaul. I hope that Moira does not stay Moira. I hope it becomes a Baptiste, because it's going to be really hard to hold down that position with the Moira. Doesn't actually do that much burst healing. It doesn't have any kind of utility that comes out in the form of a lamp like you have on Baptiste. So this composition is going to be kind of like an answer to the ball comp in terms of very anti-dive, but if you get enough angles from the side of University of Hawaii, it can be very effective in breaking down the double shield.
I can see what you mean, and that Moira actually stayed on the composition, so it's going to be quite interesting to see what options or the ways the engagements they take. It does seem, though, the Wrecking Ball composition is more scouting than anything, wanting to take their time to see what's going on, going into the backline, hoping for that dive, gets a good slam, but they lose out on not only the Wrecking Ball, but the Zenyatta in the mid-fight. So now being at this disadvantage and having to touch that point, this isn't looking too good. However, they do find the Torbjorn, putting this into a little bit of a flag, putting in that burst damage. Poor team, as they struggle to find the isolations or picks. The Wrecking Ball continues to come back in, but look at that, one boat is going to be picked up. Same with Banana, no longer looking good as they collapse underneath their weight against the double shield. There is no more control, but rather just one long stall.
Yes. So what you really want to need here from University of Hawaii is you really need angles. I think they're going to be swapping off perhaps to double shield of their own. No, going to be swapping for the Sigma variation of the composition. That allows them to get a little bit more poke damage in. The Diva kind of works as an helping for the backline, or just kind of full all-in threat on a dive, but they're not going to really be doing that into this composition, so swapping off to the Sigma I think is a good idea. They're going to be trying to walk in and getting a lot of burst damage onto the sides, and trying to catch someone out with this tracer ball.
But it's not really working as well as they're hoping to, as Math falls down, and well, they don't really have a shield, so Nap has to be extremely careful. That burst damage is immense, and well, they don't have too many resources to kind of keep themselves up without having to hard commit engage, so they continue back to this Pokemon Core Transcendence and Coalescence build up. They've got a lot of defensive options as the Wrecking Ball returns, but even then, there's not much room for the side of DePaul to be able to enter in. It just seems like Hawaii, they are going to be the engagers, throwing in that Bob, placing the Molten Core, though the Transcendence, it manages to kind of live throughout it, as well as the Pulse Bomb being Ian. It's still not really much for the side of DePaul. They pop out with the Visor, just hoping to make a difference, but look at that Transcendence. It really doesn't save the Moyer, but it does help everybody else. The ultimate's no longer in their favor as they slowly proceed to get picked off. Kami's able to finally get those picks that they've been looking for, capturing the point and bringing this in favor to their side.
Yes, and I the last time I watched University of Hawaii, I really wanted to kind of make a point of a Kami and Math Dealer on the ball and Tracer. They were very good at kind of finding targets, going in, picking people off, but into this enemy composition, it's just extremely difficult. I'm surprised that Zen does not swap over to a Brig. But I guess they want a little bit more long-range poke into a ball, maybe trying to force them out. I don't know if I completely agree with it, but I get the sentiment. And right now, they're going to be trying to rotate in. Can they get the rotates off before damage comes down from Ombology or the threat from the backline gets in? But I mean, Akami, that big threat is now gone.
Look at that, using the bongo, going up against the wrecking ball. That's 2 characters immediately taken out. This is not looking good. They have to use that Sigma to touch, and they use the only thing keeping them up, but it doesn't last forever as we see the Sigma eventually being burst down. And, well, the Brick following close after, turning this into a one-fight scenario with only little time to build up ultimates.
Yes, and it's going to be rough to try and get in here and try and break through this. I mean, the ball already touching a little bit too early. If the ball dies here, that's your main form of touching that point now gone. You can't do that if you're Math Deal. You have to wait. You had plenty of time. And now, this seems done and dusted.
I mean, you're right, and unfortunately, we don't even see a touch. As DePaul, they managed to show up, and, well, they're going to take capture of the point, bringing this to a 1-0 win. Pretty much having a bit of sustainability when it comes into the next fight.
Yes, and yeah, like it is actually going to be DePaul University taking that first point, not University of Hawaii. University of Hawaii is on your red side, and DePaul is on your blue. We'll get that sorted out in just a moment. But we're really looking towards. We're really looking at how is the response going to come out here from DePaul. From the University of Hawaii in terms of do they swap things up. It's going to be the 6-man coming out. I said that was the other composition I could see them running on that Sanctuary. It seems like it's going to come out on downtown, and it's going to be the Tracer Sombra variation into the Reaper Doomfist. This is very front heavy here for DePaul.
Yeah, they look to really want to try and use that Doomfist to its highest degree. Unfortunately, not finding any pick. The isolation does go out onto Math. It seems they are gonna fall before getting any peel, but this is still a 5v5 situation until Zeph does fall out. That Reaper not getting any clips to any form of opponent as this point captures up, and, well, the ball are looking to get on top of it with the return of their Doomfist. They're not really finding any picks, and this is being stuck into a fair fight, but that Doomfist still commits the slam in, looking to find any target, still has to be extremely careful going down to half. Coalescence built up for the side of the pole as they push in, and they force their opponents away from the point. This is completely messy, but it does seem that, well, Hawaii, they don't have a team to be able to touch this point, so DePaul getting that capture and getting that sustain, they will survive throughout this.
Yes, they're going to survive throughout, and really what you need to look for if you're playing... Ooh, I don't know about this. Coalescence is going to catch out the Doomfist maybe, but I don't know if it's enough. They're going to follow with the EMP, but they're punched.
They get EMP'd and punched, though. They push in, and they are looking to get this follow-up. High aggression working out, though it seemed a little bit risky. It seems Hawaii is willing to run any chance and any advantage to survive. However, this is going to be a stall on the point.
Yep, so on the point, just a moment. Doomfist is going to come back in, going to get melted down. Doesn't even get touched on before it does flip over. And now, going back to, if you're looking at the Sombra Tracer, what does the Sombra Tracer do that's better than the Reaper Doomfist? It's getting on top of the Moira and forcing out cooldowns faster. Because their damage comes out a lot faster, they can get on top of the Moira a little bit faster than a Reaper Doom can. It's kind of weird saying that for a Doom, but the Doom actually needs time to set up and get into a proper position to play it safely. Reaper and Sombra and Tracer don't really need that. They can force out Moira Fate and then hard punish Moira. This comp is looking at, look at the Moira, kill the Moira.
However, they're not really getting that chance. We see the hack go on to Zeph, and this Blossom is built, but that Sound Barrier goes from the high ground, managing to drop down, and as they take a second waiting to use their ultimates, they have been picked up before even getting a chance. Hawaii now building up that momentum, speed, and look at that, a team kill on their side.
Yes, and they're going to now have this set up properly. They're going to have the ability for the Sombra to try and start the fight out in the backline. I don't agree particularly with cloaking there and just poking. I know you want the EMP, but there's other chances to get that. I mean, they're going to get EMP, so this is fine. They're going to walk into it. I don't know.
Oh, but look at that EMP! It's beautiful. As the follow-up is complete, they go through, they melt, and poor DePaul, they are getting staggered, and they're at very much less of a time bank.
Yeah, the play there was totally to try to force out Sombra. When the Sombra just uncloaks like that in front of you and starts trying to find me EMP, I need somebody to walk forward and just try to shoot like the Reaper, Doom, Diva, Monkey. All you look at the Sombra and just try to shoot them and force the TP out. Your backline needs to play a little bit slick because you know the EMP is coming out right after. A little bit of alt tracking mistake there does lead them to losing the fight, but now I mean 5 ults to 0. How can they win this one?
They do decide to push in using that Blossom combined with the sound barrier, sustaining throughout it and getting the necessary damage, but the fight returns on to the point with Math falling through. This is not looking good. It seems DePaul's aggression finally working in their favor as they win this fight back, get the necessary picks, and though this is at 99, they have the ultimate to possibly hold it for that time.
Yes, they keep on to 4 ultimate. They built up this ultimate on the Monkey here, on Zephyr, Zeph. And they keep on to hold on to 3. Coalescence is actually a pretty good fight-winning ultimate. One ball that you can play for an off-angle hack, but it's really hard to do. It's not a consistent thing, but it is kind of the play you have to make. Or just answer with your own Coalescence.
They have to use that Coalescence to keep the Reaper up as well as to counter through. They lose the Doomfist and throw their bomb to get that trade onto the Lucia, but it's not looking good as they have a massive disadvantage. The hack falling onto that Lucio, and well, being able to find out the Tracer is going down, but especially with your Monkey returning into the fight, it's looking messy for the side of DePaul. However, they managed to use that bomb. They're gonna have a free remake to return to the fight, as well as finding out the Mortar. That's less healing for the side of DePaul, and that's not really gonna be looking good. Hawaii used that sound barrier. They look to push in as the strike. It's gonna fall through. We see the EMP go off, finding only 2, but not really getting too much of an isolation either way. We are seeing the follow-up be committed until Noob manages to find out 3, manages to clean up, finding 4, pushes in, builds up that Blossom, finds the Diva. You don't let that happen at the last fight scenario, because DePaul, they have guaranteed themselves the victory as there is no touch to this point. That Tracer getting clipped out. MVP title already taken as DePaul, they managed to take Busan.
A tale as old as time. I cannot tell you how many matches I have watched on Busan downtown, and they're running 6-man into 6-man, and they are winning a fight, 4 picks up, and the Reaper is still alive, and not a single person looks at the Reaper until he's killed all of them. The Reaper is your biggest threat, your biggest priority in this composition. He is their main source of damage. If you are looking at a stalled fight on anyone else that is not the Reaper, you are leaving yourself open to being wiped basically solo. And then as soon as you have the Moira come back in, I mean, it is just, it's lights out. You're just not going to kill that Reaper anymore. You have to focus him down when you have the advantage, and just never happened.
I mean, I agree. Reaper does so much damage. It's insane that we didn't see a single person try to turn their head. That's when the focus fire crumbles, and it's going to cost you that map. But it was still pretty close as Hawaii managed to get back the momentum midway through. When going into a map like Numbani next, I don't know how well that's going to work out. You kind of need to get it very early on, because that time bank is highly important when going into second point and then third point, which is often where the point tends to stop moving. But we've had full holds all night. I think DePaul, they have the capability of doing it, but they need to just have a little more confidence, while Hawaii, yeah, just gotta listen to whoever's making that call.
Or call the Reaper.
Yeah.
And I think it's a big sting for me, because I've personally not been on a team that's happened to, but been like kind of not like coach, but like a coach like figure for a team, and this happens like multiple times. And I'm just like, guys. If you guys do not shoot the Reaper, you will troll yourselves into oblivion. And it's kind of a little bit of PTSD there watching that, and I'm like, I knew it was gonna happen. I think if you could heard me at the beginning of that, as soon as the Reaper was like in the fight and no one was shooting, I was like, oh no, shoot the Reaper. You have to shoot the Reaper. And it just never happened. But looking forward, I don't think we'll see 6-man on this point. We have it all night. I'm sure that'll hold up. Probably no Reaper to have to deal with. We did see Reaper earlier. Was it effective? Apparently, yeah. It actually worked out pretty well for them, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
It did work out relatively well, yeah.
I don't think that was a I think that was more so the team matchup and not so much the comp matchup. I think that comp matchup was quite bad for them, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, fair enough point. However, that's the past, and this is the present. We get to take a look at these teams, and, well, all night we've been looking at Dive, and it seems that, well, it's continuing on. Though the Philly skin makes me happy, I'm more worried about how this is going to hold up. They do have a very defensive Dive, though, which is what I like on the side of DePaul.
Yes. And I will be interested to see if the University of Hawaii does a good job of playing around this Torbjorn. Torbjorn can be kind of a stumper at times because of just how much threat the turret puts onto your backline. Your Tracer, every time they go to flank, they're going to take 50 damage every time they even peek out for just a moment. And that's a third of the HP bar now gone for that Tracer. They have to either recall, look for healing, something else. It puts them out of the fight for so long. It's really going to be on Wombology of all people to try and poke that turret down, find it, sticky sit, and get rid of it as soon as possible before the fight even starts.
This is mostly the time for setup. They do notice where that Ana is, and, well, they're getting ready for that committed dive after they take out the turret. That's what Echo really's main job is for, and that's what I feel the real reason they put her into the game. But look, that newbie manages to finish the Tracer 1v1 in a pretty good satisfactory option. And, well, the monkey's not going to be able to land onto the high ground. This is just lowering their own time to truly commit on. They have to disengage. They find out this is not a good start.
You need to save your packs here if you're Banana. Oh, that's a really big nade. Oh, that's a really, really big nade. If there's any follow-up, can't find it. But if you're Banana, you need to save your packs for when your Echo flies up to try and contest high ground. Because if you don't, your Echo's gonna get poked out every single time. You really need to save at least 1 or 2 packs. I would prefer 2. You don't need to put it on your tank. Your Ana has that job.
I'm under attack. You're powered up. Get in there.
Protect my turret!
Nerf this!
And they still commit the bomb!
I don't know if that was completely warranted. I don't think that was kind of the play. Noob on the offing flank actually catches it. I mean, once you lose your Echo there, there's no one to contest turret. Turret's going to fire. Torbjorn pops overload. Fight's basically over. Done and dusted right there. And now your best chance to really get in there, the fight where Wombology was able to actually find both the backlines. Just the counter dive was too good. From the side of DePaul University. So we'll see if they can get in here. We'll see if they can get something done on the top right.
Put it out!
Primal, you're forced to use it, and you're juggling characters that have the mobility of literal gods. However, look at that Math falling down, Pulse Bomb landing onto the Brigida, and this fight is looking messy as they have to touch onto the point, sacrifice their mechs, sacrifice their lives for this, and really get not too much out of the end, though the Diva is struggling to not only kill the Tracer, but the other Diva.
And right now, I think we're seeing, again, a classic Numbani first point. We've seen this all night. It's very difficult for people to stage on dive a lot of the times because they have this kind of linear focus on where to go. Oh, we gotta go top right, but they don't get the prerequisites for it. Is your Tracer set up? Does your Echo have cooldowns? Are you ready to commit all your resources into that one pocket? Because you can catch it on off guard there, but your Tracer has to wait for the dive. Tracer has to sit close. Once dive comes in, start blinking forward, maybe bait out a big bash, maybe bait out a big flail, and then your dive can actually commence, but so far, no, it's no good.
They use the rally, but there's not really going to be too much on it. The Pulse Bomb lands on the Brig, and they are going to disengage to save their own team as the fight happens in the mid. And look at that, Newbie's able to get the follow-up finds, too. And really, there's no reason to even continue moving forward as that monkey goes to juggle your Brigida so far in the back line and still escapes alive. Never mind, the Mega doesn't help. It's not there. But Mowing Core is still active for this situation. The monkey is returning for the side of Hawaii, so they do have a chance to live. That bomb drops through. The Tracer falls as the monkey returns, and they pop that Nano. Molten Core is set up. They're not really able to walk through that main without big threats of being hit. And, well, look at that. Newbie is cleaning up anybody looking to mix through. The poor Brigida, who's added into this game trying to kill, is unable to do so. And with those ultimates, we looked at another full hold as Hawaii, unable to add the time, unable to add the team, and unable to find the dive. They don't get a tick, and DePaul set themselves up with a sizable win condition.
Yes, and oof, okay, another Numbani, another full hold. A story we've seen time and time again down on EGFC tonight. And man, it's been rough for these teams. The staging has been. It's hard to say a lot of things because I didn't actually see a lot what the Tracer and Echo were doing all the time, but it really does come down to, are your DPS cooldowns up and ready to jump, and can you get value off of them? Noob was getting value off their cooldowns, I'm going to tell you that. Noob was going in the back line with Zeph and Tangerine and just finding so much value. Or not even with Tangerine. Tangerine was peeling most of the time. It was just Zeph and Noob by themselves, basically, in that backline. 2v3, 2v4, it didn't matter. They were just doing insane amounts. So it's kind of, you gotta commit. Either you full commit, just sacrifice your backline, which I did one fight, and they had the best chance of winning then if they didn't get cleaned up at the end. But you either full commit like that, or you full commit to bait them diving on your backline and then fall on top of them. That's kind of the ways you have to do it. They didn't commit to either one. They kept trying to go up, but only with the Winston and Tracer. The D.Va would fly up sometimes, but even then, the D.Va would stay back. There wasn't enough. It felt on all fronts, it just like they couldn't get any momentum going.
Now, I mean, you have to build up, you know, that non-existing momentum solely to just get this hold in. It's your only chance to keep that reverse sweeps very much alive. Well, not reverse sweep, we're still very early into the series, but either way, yeah, taking time for that setup. Your team has been scouted by the Echo, so now Hawaii, they have to be very cautious as that soft engagement is there. Though the monkey does go down dangerously low, the anti's gonna be falling onto Tangerine. They still get the trade, but look at that. They find out on to the Tracer getting the res, and they're still committed into this fight. Not much is going into the brain other than to melt down this monkey who doesn't really have too many resources. Has to back up, but even then gets caught out. Poor Hanzo drops to the ground and is finished off. There is not much when it comes down to the stall. Even that Brigida caught out in the small room. They don't get too much percentage, and that Echo does get melted down, but the Brigida is following close after. It's really only the Tracer and Wrecking Ball who are left to touch as the Ana returns to the point, lands to land the anti and try to finish off the Mercy, but not able to focus down. Gets caught out by the Echo, the Doomfist being punished, but that Nano lands onto the Wrecking Ball, being able to spin to win, looking for any target possible. The Soldier 76 inside the back, looking to melt down anybody if they have the chance, but manages to get those break healings at the last second. We see that bomb from Tangerine going up sky high, not able to clear, but managing to move them off the point, able to come back into the mech. But look at this, this is a massive stall coming out, being able to sustain, getting the pulse bomb onto the Mercy. They still commit the Nano onto the Echo, hoping to kill anybody that they can, but without that pure focus fire, they're losing their chance they can to win it, as Akami finishes off the targets and they save themselves from what could have been a quick loss.
Yes, could have been a quick loss there, but they get it back. But now their composition is less than optimal, I would say. The D.Va has to reset. Same timing, but it's going to be a little bit longer for their the defensive D.Va to get back. Just a little bit, though. It's actually quite similar. I think Numbani is one of those points where it's quite similar of a walk back for both sides, so not the worst in the world. But I think something has to be said about this Junkrat. I don't quite understand the usefulness of it. You can maybe play it like an assassin, but even then I think it's less than optimal. You could just be playing something else. It's just kind of odd. It's kind of an odd compositional choice for me, especially with these mines coming in. I mean, methods.
Yo, but look at that! The trap catches out the Wrecking Ball and the mines.
Okay,
they get nullified. Now with the rally keeping up the supports, they're able to stay on the high ground for a little longer. But with the copy, I don't know how long that's really gonna last. You're split from your Lucio. You don't have much healing, and you fall down with the visor. You're not really gonna be getting much. They switch their attention. They melt you down after you kill their Mercy, and combined with the bomb, the poor D.Va can't even remake or get a chance because their own bomb, well, it's not really gonna be helping too much. Now this is where we need to see the cleanup quickly come out. Both a Lucio and Tracer still up, managing to survive for a long time on the point, but either way there is no one other than the legs who could truly touch, and well, they weren't sprinting fast enough. As we see DePaul, they finish out onto Numbani and they bring it to a 2-0 series.
It's kind of an odd, you know, caster curse there to talk about how the Junkrat doesn't really do much and then instantly have the ball get trapped and instantly killed. I don't know about that. I don't know about that one, but I don't know if that's a reason to pick up the Junkrat. Obviously, it worked out for them there, but I don't know if that's the reason. But so far, a really strong showing so far from DePaul. I mean, second point of Busan could have gone the way of University of Hawaii. We don't know. Noob has been on fire this entire series, no matter what role they've been playing. The Tracer's been phenomenal. Blue Reaper obviously winning them that fight almost by itself. And now going to the third map, what more amazing play can we see come out from Noob on Hanamura? Definitely some place for DPS to shine. You have Hanzo's, Farah's, Junkrats again if you want to see it from Volak. So much kind of DPS play. Ash, Tracer. There's so much you can kind of see on this map, and I'm going to be interested to see what we see from Noob.
I absolutely agree. Throughout the entire night, every map has been Hanamura, and it's what we're sticking to. So, but the fact that we've seen Noob kind of show up, and well, I'm pretty sure a few others on DePaul, they've made their marks, but obviously Noob has been shining a bit more. What other ideas do you go out with? We've seen a different style of defense on each team, and I'm quite curious to see what DePaul really want to go with. I think they really look good onto the dive, so maybe they just really want to just keep that W button pressed.
Yeah, we'll see what they end up going for as the Assemble Hero screen does start winding down. And this last time I watched University of Hawaii, it was, I wouldn't say they're playing worse today. I would think they're not playing as well as they did that day, but I think as well they kind of are a little bit stale in terms of their approach, especially on attack. They're very stale on their approaches on Numbani, and they almost have the defense, but I mean, the setup was just not as competent as we saw from DePaul on their first defense either. So they got rolled over and they got that stall fight to go their way, and then after that, again, it just kind of fell over. Almost some heroic plays at the end, but still not enough. And we're gonna see Volak on this Junkrat. Can they figure this out? I don't quite know. Math Dealer did get trapped before. We'll see if that happens again. And on this attack, I think with this DPS line, with this composition, I don't know if they're gonna do as well into the spam comp. The cast is just never gonna be able to walk and look anywhere. Oh,
Yeah, you know, it takes time to master the rock jump, but honestly, I think you say it best when that cast can't move in. I think it's even worse because that support line. Okay, if it wasn't for the
I don't know what Volak is doing, but he doing.
If it wasn't for both of them dying instantly, I would have been a lot less confused.
Doing a little bit of trolling. A little bit of tomfoolery occurring there. I don't know why Volak was there so late, and I don't know. I just don't know. As the color commentator, I'm supposed to be analyzing. I don't know. I've never seen that before. I cannot comment. But we're going to see Tangerine off on the side, gonna get found out.
Oh.
Shooting the ball there might be a mistake, because then he can get mega. But that's a micro.
I mean, this isn't really looking good for the side of DePaul. They've been split off twice and caught lacking, and then Zenyatta, I mean, just gets found out. Their double shield, it collapses. We thought that they were gonna have a pretty good hold, but it seemed just the idea of staying on the point and being together was the biggest weakness of all.
So if they set up full high ground there, if they set up Ursa high ground with the rest of the team, I don't actually see much of a way of University of Hawaii getting through. Instead, their Sig splits, and Math Dealer, when they pushes them in, the Sig keeps walking that way. They need to walk back to their team to get healing. It's a little bit of a weird thing, especially when your Junkrat just dies instantly at the beginning of the beginning of the game. It's a little odd. But now coming to this next point, we're gonna have Noob with the dragons. They're gonna pull dragon potentially, and I think that's the wrong order. You're supposed to dragon then pull, but still finds the mech.
I'm definitely still respecting it. You managed to lower down that 5-minute time bank, and well, I think you said it best with the idea of that high ground. I don't really see them being able to move, or Math being able to push them off the high ground without using the mines or the transcendence as a big commitment.
Yes, and again, this is kind of how it's going to come down to. I mean, who can touch Noob right now? You have to get like a crazy 3-tap from your Cassidy, and that's probably not going to happen. Your Zen is so low in the backline, you can't really approach it any way, shape, or form. It's very hard to run it on this point. I mean, like, what do you do? Like, how do you do this? You have to get some kind of DPS threat that either that comes in the way of an Echo, a Hanzo, something is to be able to contest these angles.
They had to use the Transcendence. It was their only chance to break through, and while they do get that damage out, the mines on the point, they aren't exactly as a team. We see the High Noon able to take out the mech, but that's really the only person they're able to find. There's still no touch onto the point. However, the collapse of the team, the late Transcendence not built up fast enough is going to hurt. Able to keep the D.Va up for a little longer is a good point as they force the D.Va out their mech, having to use the Bomb Dragons from the point. That tick not grabbed just yet. They have to back out. Hawaii still have a chance to be able to move in, especially with this rally. They're building up their abilities. But that window basically just says, don't you dare ever try to walk in front of me ever again. Even with that slam, it's just not enough. And yet they find two. They break through the odds. The Orisa rotates to the high ground, and they have a Widowmaker? Out of all the heroes to pick, you sacrifice 2 ticks for that 1 sniper shot. Morecore wants to be able to go through, but it's just not enough. You've been focus fired out, and that's 3 minutes and 33 seconds for Hawaii.
Yeah, I think the last time I saw this team, they did very well on the Hawaii the Hanamura defense, and I expect that to be the same case. I think where they could have fallen flattest was on attack, and the fact they've gotten a pretty big boon here in terms of the snowball on first point into the kind of clutch plays on second point, the Transcendence really allowing them to stick in there for far longer than they had any right to be. And what that kind of allowed them to do was when it started getting to that mid-range, Wombology really had the ability to start impacting the game on that Cassidy. Before that, when it was on those hard angles, when the longer angles, that Wombology couldn't do anything about it. But once they started playing that mid-range where they got in there with their support ults, Wombology could finally unleash their power and get stuff done. And that was down a Brig, by the way, at the beginning of that. Their Brig was dead at the beginning of that fight, but the Transcendence allowed them to just brawl it out.
I mean, it was the right thing to do on the attacking side. If they had backed out, it could have gone a lot worse. They could have captured with a less time being, so to just risk it out, say it's winnable, I definitely respect that idea, but we need to see DePaul kind of take this a bit more seriously. They made a bunch of questionable decisions that we don't normally see out of them, and I think that's what cost them the most. They do have the teleporter, and the Wrecking Ball composition, isn't that somewhat of like a decent counter against this style?
Yes, and now we're going to be seeing the Wrecking Ball defense. Can it stop this TP? Can you break the TP fast enough? It's already support. If you're supposed to get run over, it's all over. Oh, this is not good. They're already on.
They're able to get through, but they get the slam. It doesn't kill anybody. Your Zenyatta gets found out, and now they control the small room. Moving on to the point, this is not gonna look good. The Tracer may be into the backline, but that's a dangerous room to have to walk through. It's a good thing you found the Baptiste, but it's not good that you're in a 5v6 and your Wrecking Ball is more poking through. You are able to get that collapse, however your team falling through. The mines built up so quick, but no chance to pop out. Wait, maybe Math manages to live through, however falling out, especially with the mech. It's getting a little scary. It's really only the Mei that's left, and well, they get an interesting wall off at the end.
Yep, interesting wall off does end up happening, and in that entire time, they got on top of the supports, exactly what they wanted to do. They still were getting just poked down by Wombology, by Nepotis, by Akami. What is that? What? Oh, what's that? No, don't take the TP! No, save them! Save them!
We see the charge go through. The Brig managing to save their lives as the mines splits up the entirety of DePaul. It's gonna be interesting as they try to move forward, but there's still not much that's gonna be going through. We see the Gravitic Flux managing to slam them down as the Blizzard goes through, but there isn't much of or any form of a follow-up. They are gonna be collapsing underneath their own weight, but it does seem to be more than enough. Especially with that Flux almost taking them out. It's scary. They had to take the TP to get out. Almost gets caught by the bomb. Does not get back in their mech. They're looking to stall this fight and try to get back as quick as possible. But even then, they are not getting too much out of this fight. It just seems the Wrecking Ball competition's a little bit too strong. And Hawaii, they have turned it up a gear.
Yes, and right now, This defense is exactly what I saw from them the last time I watched them. Akami, Math Dealer, really just getting that stuff done in the back line. When Balaji's there, just pepper them down from the distance. And no matter how many times, that was odd. The TP was odd, but it happens. Sometimes it happens, and it made force them to just use a lot of. Oh, I don't know about this rally so early when there's not even an engage coming through, but we'll see how this ends up going. I think Noob might die.
It still gives him the confidence to walk through. That Doomfist does go for a punch. Oh my goodness, the poor CC. Chipsa and Samito are screaming right now. Like, this game is broken. And well, now they have to go into a 5v6 with around less than a minute. This is not looking good because they're getting hit with so much poke.
You can't scream this game is broken when you punch in 1v6. Nah. You are pushing the Doomfist agenda. Stop it. It's not funny. Noob is dead. A little bit behind his shield. Gets caught out. No DM either to save them. But no, don't let the Doomfist fool you. If you punch in 1v6, you should die.
Yeah, look at that. They do touch onto the point using that wall, but the Reinhardt is basically alone. And the Visor mines, it split them up. The Soundbaiter is just barely able to keep up Zev. However, they've counterattacked with one of their own, with Mischiefs falling down. This isn't looking good anymore. One big collapse, and it seems that after getting the full hold themselves, they may get hit with that return.
Yes, as they walk in right now, they're gonna be very pressured to try and touch. I think this Winston should just die instantly. They have enough damage to do so. They have the CC to do it as well. The boops can come in from the Lucio, from the Bray to give them in a bad position. And you're really gonna look for this pulse bomb onto the Lucio or the Moira after the fade comes through. That's really gonna be. They're gonna bomb forward, try to force cooldown. Exactly what it's gonna do.
They do get the stun, 3-mag kill. Not bad on top of everything. At least you find out Akami and you're jumping through the Regina. Not having any sustain, but you're getting collapsed on top of. It's up to Noob, who's getting the picks and basically finding the security as the Wrecking Ball spins to win on the point, hoping to get that chip damage, putting the mines out in front of the gate so nobody can walk in. Zev falling through, getting hit with too much burst damage, and as Noob finds out the Lucio, there's really not too much to survive, but you walk into the mines! Please stop walking into the mines. There's only a Wrecking Ball, a Moira on that point who are really able to do much, and Akami is helping to clean it out, misses the pulse bomb, drops one of their own, finds out Math, and it seems that DePaul, they're gonna keep... I don't want to cast anymore.
No! My Joker moment! No, okay.
This is
We
my
can all calm
Villanor.
down.
This is my
They're still
Villanor.
up 2-1. They're still up 2-1. DePaul
that's my-
certainly doesn't give a first sweep. Okay, but to be fair, they might not have won that fight. Should have won that fight. The Reaper wanders into the mine. Okay,
No.
but on a positive side, user, we are getting very toxic in here. You're a very toxic person. We get the high-profile tilter. We get that. But we can talk about the good side. University of Hawaii now has renewed confidence, renewed morale, and they are looking much better. And this defense for them in the past has been extremely strong, and right now it's continuing to look extremely strong for them. Even when they have to swap off to try and stall with that Lucio, they build up the beat late in the fight. It gives them the it gives them the ability to counter beat. Really well played stuff on the whole from University of Hawaii, and I want to see that continue. We can maybe see that on Rialto. I have not seen the Rialto before. I don't know what they can pull out here, but I want to see more good stuff. And DePaul, don't worry too much. 2CP, Mickey Mouse game mode, keep going.
Yeah, just gonna wipe that from my history. Listen. I'm not upset about anything besides the C9. That's it. That's all I'm upset about. Either way, you're absolutely right. That was an impressive showcasing coming out of Hawaii, running the Wrecking Ball composition. And I won't lie, I had a lack of confidence, but they definitely took me out to dinner and gave me a nice little treat. As well, I feel full after seeing.
Are you being paid off?
A little bit. I'd like to believe at least.
You're getting paid off? That's crazy.
I wish, man, but my PayPal is still at 0. All right, that's all I'm saying. Either way, going over to the fourth map, which is going to be the first of today, Rialto. It's going to be similar to Hanamura. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Wrecking Ball work out, but DePaul, they need to get their pants in order, or else they'll keep being caught with it down.
Yes, and I really kind of want to see what happens in terms of the compositions we're going to see initially coming out from both sides. We'll see that in just a moment, and it will kind of determine how the tempo of this is going to go. I expect more ball composition stuff from University of Hawaii. They look strong on it, look solid. Yep, there it is. looked solid on it before, and I don't expect them to swap that up. I think the Cassie is going to act as kind of a kind of like anti-dive tool for the backline, but they really haven't had to deal with that. Outside of the Noob's Tracer on Numbani defense, really haven't seen much of that otherwise. We've been seeing 6-man, we've seen Reaper, that kind of stuff. So I don't know if the Cassidy is completely warranted or necessary here. I don't know if Hombology could pull out something like an Echo or something like a Hanzo, but definitely something that I would love to see from them.
You know, that's something I would very much have a good smile for as well. But I don't know how much we'll get it, and we'll have to see what's going to be working out. Wrecking Ball versus the Dive. We'll be able to see which one is better when it comes down to the EGFC. Unfortunately, that Torbjorn almost gets no healing and dies. Does manage to live for a little bit longer, but that control for the high ground has been somewhat sacrificed as the payload gets closer. It just seems that with the full commitment of the Dive and, well, the focus onto the Tracer, they're not able to burst down Math. And, well, they have to just contest back onto the point, try and stop it for as long as possible. But even then, it's one big poke, nobody really finding a single target during this intermission.
I'm surprised when Balaji and the Cassidy didn't find the opportunity to try and walk high ground with that. He's anti too. I'm surprised he was pushing cart by himself. Almost dies solo to that Echo. Math Dealer in a bit of a predicament themselves.
Yeah, not looking really good as they get melted down as well while trying to retreat. It just seems that the Echo was the change that they needed, doing enough damage to make sure they can clean anybody up.
Yeah, but I think Wombology needs to try and take the high gun there, because what's going to happen is you're going to have the Tangerine on that Diva just stand up there, and you're going to have the Echo Monkey as well kind of patrol around that area waiting for places to go. Your Cassie needs to be there to pressure them out of that area. They can't push into you either. You're playing Briggs and Cassie. That is just, like, people think of brawl comp. That is a brawl if I've ever seen one.
They do build up the Transcendence. That's going to allow them to be able to push in. But I mean, that poor Cassidy gets caught by the $200 beam that melts you through. The Transcendence is allowed to just kind of sweep through, save their Wrecking Ball for a little longer. But look at that. Noob lands, manages to get the Diva, and their Torb very much has Molten Core, so they still have a lot of sustainability, especially with that Pulse Bomb missing out. You're not looking too great right now. You basically have to regroup and try to find a new way to break through, especially with that bomb still slowing you down.
Yep, little copy bomb there. Nothing lost in the long run, but they still got 4 ultimates to work with right now. The bombs can go forward, can't find anything, just the turret. The buildable is now gone, but the Molten Core is going to be an easy response, and already finding some value.
The Molten Core just able to kind of make some time. That's really all they need. It's not doing too much as the Torbjorn has to retreat from fighting the Brigitte. I would too. But well, the Tracer is still there looking to clip. They've given themselves more than enough time to regroup as 6 for this upcoming fight. But against the ultimates, it is definitely going to be a challenge. We see the rally. It gets popped against this. Well, Valkyrie and with the high noon looking to isolate anybody from entering in. It's going to be a struggle. However, with that nano, it's looking nice as they dive into the backline, able to find out too that Monkey basically surviving for a long time, but eventually gets dangerously low and just to bring it in. And it's the Echo that falls. Less than a minute, we may be looking at a hold here.
Could be looking at a hold. Rialto in the past was known for its first point holds, but kind of moved away from that. But still, gonna be a very hard poke to crack when this card is under the bridge. It does give a lot of space though to this attacking team to try and go around and try to get angles on them. Exactly what River God does.
Yeah, look at this. Mines placed onto the point. They've lost their Mercy before the res can come in. We said it too soon. There is no full hold possible as we see them slowly get melted on the side of DePaul. No chance to be able to bring it back as Molten Core. It dies the moment it gets popped. And that is a point captured, and now hopes for a second one.
Yes, like I said, it used to be for a very good reason. It's moved away. That was, you know when that was, user? You know when that was, like, famously first point HUDs were happening on this point?
Oh, yeah.
You know when that was?
Not really, no.
Goats. It was during Goats.
Oh, you're right.
It was during Goats, so no more Goats to be found here. That got removed a long time ago, so not gonna be seeing those first point holds coming through, and instead, Ball reigns supreme as the copy ball. Also
Yep,
going
look at that though. They use the nano, they're pushing in, they force the Transcendence, and then make a nice rotation onto the point, just trying to kill that Brigitte. However, they have to use that Primal Rage, just almost dies out and still needing to disengage. It's very much a struggle. At least the copy, the mines, it's able to do its job, stop anybody from escaping, and yet they get caught out. Not as a group, their mines placed behind them. Mercy falls into it, not looking great, but able to use that bomb to finish off Math. That's the shining point. It's still a fight on this card as they're not really able to take a full win, and Hawaii, they get to push it even farther.
Yep, they're gonna push through second point. There's gonna be another contest coming out, but no ultimates on the table right now for DePaul University. Instead, we're gonna be looking at the bomb coming in from the POTUS and the visor coming in from Ombology. Can that bomb buy enough space for the visor to come out? Instead, just gonna be using it straight up.
Look at that, using the visor, throwing the bomb. They are looking to get a pick, and it seems to be on to the Ana. Now a fight on this point. The squishies are squished. Not much, as they have to have the monkey retreat back there, but no healing able to come out to sustain them. Unfortunately, it does seem that DePaul are crumbling underneath their own weight. Want to call this a snowball, but they are not holding anytime soon.
Yes, and if this keeps it up, they could finish with time. Always a good look on Rialto. Third point, notoriously hard to finish, but we'll see if they're even able to get there, as this composition really now can start to struggle. The ball has very little opportunities to go in from different angles. There's just like a couple places you have to check. A trap here, a diva there, and there's no way for Matt Dealer to get in. He's gonna have to go straight up, and when you go straight up, you're gonna take so much entry damage.
I mean, but how much can you really get when the Riptire is being a big distraction? Manages to find out Wumbo and make this fight relatively even. But with the Transcendence, I don't know how even you can call it. They place the mines midway through, and though the payload is going to be able to break it, Zeph still has to disengage, give up that space for free. And once you go back into the fight, you're meeting a Brigitte who is rallying. The High Noons, your last chance to find that early pick, but they decide to play passive, play behind, and give some time up. They still have more than enough resources to be able to move in as they commit back. An over jump from Zeph is going to cause into a punish. And now, I mean, there's not really much you can do besides just keep them at bay. And yet the Wrecking Ball still commits to the dive. You get the sleep, and well, you get the punch. That's going to work. You finally stop them from wanting to jump in.
Sometimes on ball, you have to accept you can't pile drive. That's one of the situations. You can't go in there. You don't have the follow-up. You've lost your tracer. You don't have the angle set up for your soldier just yet. Your backline can't walk. You can't pile drive there in the slightest. You saw Banana have to try and walk forward. Potentially could have cost them their life to try and get that pack, but you have to be passive sometimes.
Look at that though. The nano goes through, and it's more than enough to pass and take the damage from the visor, basically saving the team and helping this fight out. Now with 30 seconds on the clock, the Wrecking Ball composition has one more attempt to make sure that they can cap the third point and give themselves a chance at a map 5.
Yes, a map 5 potentially on the horizon, but we have to see their defense as well. It's where they've been best, but even then, I don't know. If they don't finish this point out, it's definitely extremely winnable for the side of DePaul, but right now the engage is gonna come through.
That's a beautiful bomb. It nullifies all the mines, and well, it helps bring out that diva. The only issue is they lost their monkey in the meantime. The High Noon looking to just get that pick. It doesn't find anything but stops them from being able to engage in on the fight. The diva being able to freely escape. That Transcendence coming in a little bit too late as they lose Akami. They need to make a difference as Tangerine's mech is falling quickly down, and they're looking to just play onto the right side of the point. Doomfist going on to the Brigitte, almost causing into a C9, but allowing them to be able to build that sustain with no more supports alive and only a tank line left. It's all over as they don't have the capability to come back. Even finding Tangerine, it's not enough. The Baby Diva being the last person on that cart is eventually going to fall, and at 78.42 meters, I'd say that is a beautiful condition from almost being full held.
Yes, I was going to say that as well. Almost being full held into getting to third point, not the worst thing in the world. You have some ability to try and win out this map. Send it to a map 5 on control. We're going to see how... I don't remember what the control is if it goes to map 5. I believe it is Nepal. We're going to see how the Nepal for University of Hawaii and DePaul University to work out. But before that, before I get ahead of myself, we still have a Rialto defense to beholden from University of Hawaii. And if their Hanamura defense is something to go by, it's definitely really strong. They're going to be playing a very similar composition. Again, but now we're going to see Wombology on the Echo. This is kind of what I want to see, but on attack as well. Maybe they got scared of it after the Numbani attack. I don't quite know. But it really does rely on the fact that your Brigitte, now that you have a Zen, actually, you can just put the orb on the Echo and they can go contest, but you generally want the orb on your Tracer. But we will see how this ends up going.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm scared because I feel DePaul, they are willing enough to run out on the Bastion strategy, and I don't know how good the Wrecking Ball composition really stands against it, because they aren't moving back. Worse, they're walking out on a Bastion.
I think Volak is just a funny heroes kind of guy, you know? You know, just a funny hero. He plays Doom, plays Torb, plays Junkrat, plays Bastion. He's kind of the funny heroes guy, the guy you don't want in your ranked games, the guy you're just not having fun with. But in coordinated play, you can make the funny guy work. And right now, that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna have to engage at the same time. Napotus is losing too much of his HP, losing too much of his DM before the engage can come in. You're gonna have to now back up and wait for more DM.
I don't know how much I like them just sitting on the card. I watch Bastion main, though it seems that Math does not, walking through, getting melted down, Immortality coming out extremely late, though the res is possible, and the Echo falls completely next. The Diva's the only person that can really contest, gets rocked, gets stunned, the poor soul gets melted. They may have to make some major changes.
Yes. It's going to be interesting to see how they stop this Bastion. They had the best chance of stopping the Bastion was when they were going under the top high ground that you can hold. But Napotus used too much of his DM. The engage is coming in. I don't know if this is warranted. This is not a good place to try and get out this Bastion. I mean, yes, you can do
the
that.
Bastion, yeah, the Bastion stays in one spot, has no immortality, but the res, it doesn't get punished. It's too late, and they're able to freely reconvene in the fight. But that Transcendence plus the Pulse Bomb, that's Bone at Bud Seat, as they save themselves from getting a scary time bank in DePaul. I don't really think they'll be able to reconvene back on a Bastion with no setup time.
Yes. We're gonna be seeing it. Does the Doomfist come out? Maybe that swaps over to a Torbium, maybe that swaps over to anything. I don't know with Volak. You never know. But this first point hold is still very much alive, and now the Bastion has been defeated. You're having this double shield composition. The ball comp has a little bit more opportunity to try and shine, as there isn't this massive DPS threat, just throwing out billions of damage whenever the ball comes around.
They do decide to take over that high ground, combine it with the window, and they look for that Echo, but the Doomfist goes for a Hail Mary. Samito is shaking his head right now. He's so disappointed. I will always bring my Samito up. As we see the Baptiste get melted down, Mind placed, and they get melted out. The double shield, not really having much room to push back in.
Yes. I don't quite know what Volak was doing. You can't 1v2 in the backline against Zenbrig. You're never gonna succeed. Ends up swapping May. Now you're trying to hard punish Math Dealer when they go in. What Math Dealer has to do is realize not to hard commit. Can't do it. You have to roll and try to get out. I know it's hard. I know you want to get your slam off. I know there's dopamine in that. But you have to try and just roll through whenever the rotation comes out. Get the value off. Get the hell out of there. And get back for another roll.
But the Orisa goes halfway down, uses the bongo, and it gets broken in the meantime. That immortality is basically nothing but a delay of the inevitable. They use the Transcendence, and that's their key to start pushing in. However, that Flux is a good counter, especially after finding out the Echo. They were caught with their pants down, a little too aggressive, and now they get rocked with no way to kind of bring this back. It's up to the Wrecking Ball to stall with the Tracer for a little bit longer. but dangerously low, managing to sustain themselves somehow, some way. It seems that Hawaii are always ready to bring in the next question. There is signs of a touch as that D.Va is on the edge, but with the wall, it's a very risky opportunity, yet they still decide to commit, throwing themselves head first, and, well, with the mines, this is looking good. They managed to kill off Newbie, who had the High Noon, not gonna be able to get that chance. Copy onto the Baptiste. Not the worst thing, but not the best. As we see the Pulse Bomb manage to break it through. The Remake managing to kill off the Sigma. The Mercy, the only person left to touch. Oh my goodness. We see a full hold come out. And Hawaii, they're giving us the thing we've needed all day. What we wanted all night. And with the Wrecking Ball slowly going down, Zeph feeling that regret in their bones. It seems we're going back to where we started. Worst. Yeah. We're going to map 5!
We're going to DePaul. We're going to map 5. Man, this is going to be a great time to try and see who can come out on top. We were doubting Hawaii after Numbani. We said, oh, it's over. It's going to be another 3-0. It's 3 Overwatch night. No, Hawaii come out swinging on Hanamura. They come out back from the clutches of defeat on that first point. Not the end of the map by any means, but still. Almost cap. And then they repel them, hold them for a good while, get a little over aggressive, go a little bit, commit too many cooldowns for it without getting the value out of it, and then they're back on the defensive, and then they bam come back in with the recontest and they take it back. Now we're going to be going to Nepal. We're going to be seeing what these teams want to do.
Honestly, this looks completely different compared to the Hawaii that we saw on map 1. While they were somewhat still very, working out their kinks, they weren't looking as strong as they do now. And I think when a team looks good on a Wrecking Ball composition, they look amazing in comparison to the other opponents. The Wrecking Ball composition is one of my favorites, and I think one of the more harder styles to run. So DePaul, they're being caught with their pants down, and now they're forced into a map 5 after they led the series to a 2-0. And going back to control, especially as the point was Nepal, that's not really a good one for DePaul, if you ask me. It may be a part of their name, but that doesn't give you an advantage.
Yes. We'll be seeing who can come out on top, who can really sustain it. Right now, University of Hawaii, they have all the momentum, all of it right now. DePaul, after Hanamura, are deflated. They have to kind of get their mojo back. They got to get a reset going into Nepal. Morale is a big thing in any team game, in any team environment. Morale can make or break a team. You play so much better or so much worse depending on it. As I'm kind of worried for DePaul. I really, really hope they can kind of bring this back because that'd be soul shattering.
I'm not gonna disagree. I've been reverse swept before in an unofficial match, so I can at least vouch. It hurts the soul. However, it is so good of a story arc for Hawaii, who's always been looked at a team no matter where they go as an inconsistent one at that. I think, if there's any statement to make that we're ready to look new and cool, it's gonna be now. Especially because they look good on the Wrecking Ball, and I think the Wrecking Ball composition works best on 2 or 3 of Nepal's points, just not Shrine.
Yes, and I hope we get in here soon because I'm kind of excited to see what we run. Much less 6-man on this, much less 6-man on this map that you can run, right? So much less 6-man. So that was kind of the thing we saw that kind of broke the camel's back on Busan. It actually was a much better fighting chance for them into a double shield, but there's also a lot less double shield on this map as well. So less double shield, less 6-man, ball comp time. That's kind of the thing. It's ball comp or rush, and their ball comp into the rush on Hanamura was excellent. So I'm hoping they can keep that up, and I'm hoping they can keep that kind of idea into rush alive.
I want to say I agree, but I don't know what to feel anymore. I just have to pray to the casters in the sky, such as Septilence and whatever caster I can think of off the top of my head, to give us the strength to give this game the energy it needs, as they have twisted my heart through in and out. Hawaii, the supports have just gone insane, and honestly, I think they have been one of the shining points as their wrecking ball. And as we go in, we'll only be able to get to see what happens, and being out into the deeps of, this isn't well. I forget what this one is exactly called, but hey, Wrecking Ball works on it.
I want to say it's Sanctum. Pretty sure it's Sanctum.
I'm pretty sure it's Sanctum.
Pretty sure it's Sanctum. The fact that after 6 years I say he's pretty sure about a map is kind of embarrassing, but generally 99.9.9 that is definitely Sanctum. So we're gonna roll out on Sanctum here. Gonna be interesting to see. 6-man. Okay, so, wait, 6-man versus 6-man. Guys, I said there's less 6-man. Okay, they're going Rush. It's not 6-man. Copium. It's basically 6-man.
No,
Okay,
yeah,
no,
remember, we're very early.
No
in
6-man.
Is 6-man?
No 6-man. No 6-man.
No 6-man. No 6-man.
Very cool.
I mean, but it's going up against the Rush is going up against the double shield. That's basically a rock, paper, scissors.
Maybe. Maybe. You never know. It's not really rock, paper, scissors. If the rock, paper, scissors, okay, it's rock, paper, scissors. Every single map, you change how the dynamic work, right? So one map, paper beats scissors, and scissors beats rock, and then the other map, it's the normal way. Like, that's how it kind of is in Overwatch, right? It's very map dependent in terms of how the rock, paper, scissors go.
They do get a good scout. Understanding that the Orisa was there, they immediately decide to play a bit more cautious. However, look at that beautiful rotation that everyone does but the Zenyatta. Getting caught out during it, and well, the Brawl now has full control over this point without any fear of a Discord orb shooting them in the face. Why now set up, able to take control of this point. Even if they take that rotation one more time, it's not looking good as they get melted down, have no turret to defend themselves, and now they have the backup.
Yep, backup they do indeed. And we're going to be seeing if they can make any kind of progress in. Right now, it's been pretty coordinated aggression from University of Hawaii. They've gotten off the damage, they've gotten the kills fast enough, but right now they seem a little bit out of sorts. They didn't really see this rotation coming in. Not good enough scouting from the Diva there. Now they're going to have to back up.
I mean, they just, and that's the worst thing that you have to do in general is back up. You really don't want to be giving your enemies this much time. I mean, notice how that bullet gets in. They're not able to go through. Not really building up the ults of Doomfist gets that free punch, able to escape without too much of an issue. Though your window is looking absolutely beautiful, forcing your opponents to go into a small room where you thrive in. Well, the fact that Zeph is starting to push in, gets that beautiful pull. The Shatter gets punished. Look at that Zenyatta making it through as Newbie finds Wumbo. And now they have the ultimates and the ability to finish out this fight, manage to capture that point, and force a recontest when it comes to Hawaii.
That is what you kind of notice when you're on a rush comp and you realize, oh, we've lost this fight, when you are using cooldowns to back away from a double shield. That's what they live for, eking out your resources slowly, cornering you off, pieing you off into a corner, and just removing you from the game. That's what Double Shield loves to do against a rush comp, and when you allow them to do that, when you have no opportunity to speed forward into them, that's when you've lost, and now they're gonna have disengage ultimates.
We see the Moan Core set up, and it's Pop the Brawl. No longer having any room to walk into it. It seems the Lucio Banana is going to be falling down afterwards. However, they have forced the opponents into a very uncomfortable position, knowing where they're going. I mean, it seems that they just want to kind of brawl as being this poke, finding the Doomfist, and that window being used so far back. The Bob is going to be the displacer. Transcendence had to be committed, though.
Really good.
I'll question if you had to use it. It still works out in the end.
That's really, really good for University of Hawaii, because now that's their biggest one of their biggest dangers. Now they have Bongo to deal with. And Bongo is bad if you can't break the distance fast enough, which I'm sure they're going to see the whiff of this Reinhardt. They're going to Bongo, and the Reinhardt's going to be like, guys, I can't walk. And he's right, he really can't walk. They're going to make a coordinated push with the DM, but now you've already used so much of your DM just trying to walk out solo as the Diva. Now you have to get forced back once again.
I do really like this Bongo, though. I mean, The Reaper gets punished just out of commitment. They had to use the Sound Barrier just to be able to push through, but it's still being much of a struggle as the Bunga was still up, takes out Math, and they get punished for just trying to play their composition the way it works in a last fight scenario, as this is less than 10% on the clock. They have to touch, and this isn't going to be looking good. That Diva gets pulled, though they're going to be able to escape, and it's the Reaper who's the one who gets the touch. You're all jumping in one by one, throwing that bomb, though they have the shield. It seems the immortality was not there to be able to keep them up. I guess it got broken or missed. Something happened, and now that Bob's the only person contesting on the point. However, Hawaii, they find the difference, they make the change, and they get that repoint capture, and, well, they're going to be brawling in. They have the Shatter as a good sustainability, and it's, well used if you ask me.
Yes, and man, they kind of got a lucky break there at the end, but they're still gonna have to go up against 12 ult, window as well. They can walk up with the window, force them back if they need to. The play here, play close. As soon as they look to walk up, try to rush into them. If they window and you can't keep pushing, then you can back up and save as many cooldowns as possible. Right now, where you're holding shield and not speeding into them, that's kind of a mistake, but the Zen is dead.
Oh no! That poor Zen! The Mullen Core is going to be catching them out, but the Blossom is the one that cleans up the fight. Hawaii, what are you made of, being able to bring it back like
Meteor
that?
strike!
Put yourself at match point.
Yes, and oh man, going down to map 5, back from the brink, down 2-0, and they have brought it back once again in the percentages on Sanctum. Can they do the same on Shrine, or will it be a clean one for them, or will they lose it out? We don't know just yet what's gonna happen. This could go map 5, round 3, and it'll be amazing. But for now, we're gonna have more of the same stuff. Ball comp versus, I don't know what this could be from the left side. This could turn into anything. They still have 10 seconds. I'm gonna be interested to see what happens, but we already kind of know what the what University of Hawaii wants to do.
I mean, you're absolutely right. Though this is a very fast 6-man that we're seeing with a Symmetra. Dragon Ball is going to be making it first, but we have to see what they choose to break through. The fight is going to be on this Shrine as the monkey uses the bubble to split through, and they take that fight towards their opponent. However, not having enough sustain and being a little bit dangerous, they have to play carefully. We see the Doomfist has to disengage, give that monkey a bit more time to build up the resources. And even if Matt goes back in looking for that slam, already has
Good job.
That DePaul, they're bringing in that energy once more.
I think I disagree with how Matthew is playing the Wrecking Ball here. He's trying to be the first one to engage and slam in this comp. Against 6-man, you really can't be. You have to be kind of looking for a counter engage or looking for when they commit resources to go in, because if you just straight up, and they're going to Soraya, try and help him get the slams off, I don't think you want to do this. I think what you want to do is you want to peel back and let the fact that you get more value over time with your Discord orb and amplifying all of the damage you do. I think that's what you want to play for and not for the balls.
This is an even fight. Still winning it's not looking good as Newman.
Yes. Now we have Coalescence. This is going to be really bad here for the side of University of Hawaii. They are kind of going to get run over by it in a lot of ways. You're going to have to potentially look for some kind of damage. I think Zen being on the side by himself could be dangerous, but Noob having to back up, realizing that's hard to push by himself. But no fade on him. He's now a kill threat.
Surrender to my will.
Fight up against the forcing the Majestic to have
Adaptive circuits engaged.
Very hot.
They don't really have
Raising the volume. Barrier
well, they managed to find the dude this retreat.
this is looking like map 1, but they have a buffer. They can go to village. It's doable for them. Right now, the fight's still not over, but they have beat. He's gonna come in here, gonna basically stop everything, but Zeph dies beforehand. The bomb comes out. It's not gonna affect anything.
Готовности.
They bring that clutch back in, and they manage to get the point. But this is forced into the last scenario. If they want to be able to win, they have to hold this.
Yes, and man, they saw the widow. Okay, so back to Reaper. Thank you. New going a little crazy there. They're gonna have coalescence to kind of run this over. Mines is gonna be the disruptor. Can they get a mines off in the back line, force the Moira fade, and then poke out the Moira or take out the Moira? That's kind of the plan. Not gonna happen. They're gonna mine the engage. It's not gonna be as effective. But I guess the Moira's still. Wait, what?
Wait, they managed to find the Moira with the mine. Everybody else collapses quickly after, just kind of being caught out, split up, and not as a unit. That's a big punishment, and that's a team kill, allowing the Transcendence to be the ultimate that might save them from the next fight.
Or a copy Lucio can come out and they can get a beat up for it, I think. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. That's
yes, exactly. Wombology usually a couple fights too early on that one, but no. Wombology now has the ability to go in super aggressive, look for the Moira kill, look for maybe a Reaper duel or a Doom duel, and then get out of it with that copy. But they're gonna have to go fast.
Look at that. They are going to fight, able to get the copy onto the monkey. That's what they've been waiting for as that coalescence qualifies here. Big primal. They do jump around. Beautiful bubble stopping the Doom from finding out the kill. But look at this high charge Zarya looking to melt down that monkey, the force soul. Move still able to figure out where Akami is. Finish it off. Looking the punch, trying to kill this Echo, but free flying like Lightning McQueen. They managed to find the Zoom, finish it off. Get the slam, the grab. Not enough. The poor Brigitte is going to be falling afterwards, and well, it just seems like they're to walk into the mines for fun. The Zarya, the ball, the last people to touch this point for a little longer, being able to stall this up into that 90% target. But they need to find the picks. They need to stall for the rally, but with the sound barrier, I don't know how long that can last. It's the big ultimate that they build, but the Brigitte returns back in, helping the Zenyatta for a little longer. And look at this, they find out the Moira. The bomb is on the point, but they're able to retreat away from it. They still have control as the Lucio.
No way!
This is not happening. As the monkey falls, the Doomfist falls, the Reaper gets the pick, but
shoot him!
Falls. It's not enough. The Coalescence being the last ability on this point, but the Transcendence is built, and it's more than enough to defend. Folks, Hawaii, they pull off the reverse sweep.
They did it, lads. They did it, and I'm impressed. I am very impressed with their mental fortitude. To come back into it from a reverse sweep, get that stuff done, come back multiple times down, very high percentages. Last fight, they pull it out of nowhere, basically. Mary Poppins' magic bag, it comes out of nowhere, and they get the map win. And man, just an amazing performance from everyone on the University of Hawaii. But I mean, a lot of people just kind of stepped up in a big way in those final maps.
I mean, my boy says it all and how insane that match was. What did we say? The clutch factor, the adaptiveness that was shown beforehand, and being able to bring it back during that last fight. They could have lost that so easily. But not only was the focus fire lacking onto DePaul, but, well, the rally was the big winner. And Hawaii, they can feel proud knowing that they're not going home as losers. They get the reverse sweep, and they can feel so proud of themselves, because I know I am. But DePaul, I think they showed a lot of good work here, but it's finishing it out that mattered.
Yes, and finishing out indeed. We saw them, the momentum really just completely shattering on Hanamura, right? When they got full held, that was kind of the beginning of the end. And then we kind of saw it happen on Rialto as well. The full hold comes through, and then that kind of sets it up for Nepal. They messed it up on Busan. They let the Reaper kill 6 people. Okay? They let the Reaper kill 6 people. They messed it up. And now they get the run back on control. They don't let the Reaper kill 6 in a 1 fight, and they take it on map 5.
I gotta say, for all the storylines and things to see, that's one where I definitely got to be feeling proud of. That was way too good of a comeback. So, we get this moment to relax. You folks, I really just want you to stay. Hypothetically, we may be getting an interview. We will be trying, because that was too good not to question how their players are feeling, but I worry that they are so pumped up on that adrenaline, they've all gone on a year-long mile jog, and we may not get it. So we will be going through a break, so stay tuned, as we may have an interview, and it will be interesting. Hey everybody. We need to have a talk. You may have seen it in the chat as Forrest did have to bring in some bad news. Uh, there was a situation as Wombology apparently had to go to another scrim. But my boy Septilence, we do anything for him on Twitter. So we made sure, and we got some vouchers in, and we brought you the interview that you have requested. Wombology, you managed to bring in the reverse sweep with the rest of Hawaii, and how do you feel?
Pretty good. It was looking pretty grim in the first two maps, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, so if I can get your perspective, what was going on so early?
I think cause I'm not the starter on this team, and I'm just filling, so I think we're just like trying to get used to like the comps we play with like me in it. So, and normally on our other team I play Tracer, so it's kind of a big jump going to this one and not playing Tracer since Akamai is the main Tracer player.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I mean, you said you're filling in. I didn't actually know that, so that's really big. That's really big stuff. You fill in for this team, and you did a lot of good work, especially on those later maps. The first two maps got off to a rough foot. After Hanamura, you guys full hold them. You guys capped. And you full hold. Did that kind of get the momentum building for your team into those later maps?
Yeah, I think especially the full hold on first point. I think it definitely gave us confidence because it gave us like we can do this. Like these guys aren't that good because we just full held them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so kind of getting a look at this. Hawaii started out this split kind of not in the best shape in the standings, and you guys have kind of been bringing it back this split coming on. I know you said you weren't the starter for this team, but do you have any insight into that?
Well, I don't know if you guys know, but last semester, at the very least, we were playing because our main team was in like a lot of tournaments, and this semester we flipped it and we put the main team in for this semester. Yeah, and
so that's kind of the lore.
That's pretty much the lore. Yeah,
that's the lore. And so now one last question for you, but as your place in this team, I know it can be, but how did it feel stepping up into this team for this match and then pulling off the reverse? I know you kind of talked about like, oh, it was great and all that, but like, how does it feel like being the person to sub in and do it?
I mean, it's always fun playing with them. It's a new environment that I'm not used to like playing with my normal team, and it's always fun to play against higher competition and see how I do, I guess. So I'm really happy that we were able to pull off the reverse sweep.
I gotta say, while my voice does not thank you, my heart does. It was an incredible match of Overwatch, so I want to give you the floor. You can basically talk about whatever you want, though, obviously, toxicity not. Give some love, shoutouts, whatever you feel. The stage is yours.
Well, they're not watching. Shout out to my parents. Shout out to my wonderful University of Hawaii. We're trying our best to put them on the map. And yeah, I think that's it.
I fully respect it. So you're pretty much free to go. Thank you so much for joining us and giving a match to remember.
Yeah, always try to keep it interesting.
Yeah. Well, with that, the riots have been mostly avoided. I see a couple of you dissenters in chat. Stop it. Quiet down. We're trying to calm it down. It's a nighttime. We're gonna chill out. Gonna end it on a good note after such a heart-racing, heart-pounding match to end off there. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna chill out and get this going,
Yep. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this broadcast. It was a ton of fun. If you're interested with seeing more content like this, I'd highly recommend hitting that heart, it's a follow, hitting that bell, it's notifications, and checking out the official EGF Twitter, as they will make sure that you not only know who is casting, but when the matches are there, who's producing it, and basically all the information writing on that, especially if you want to be able to support the teams or the individual players on their Twitters. And speaking of Twitters, you have our Twitters down below. Obviously, you can see us casters, and if you want to see our producers, then I'd highly recommend checking out their Twitter, because you can see it over on the EGFC or on ours, as we'll make sure to ping them, self-promote, easy like that. Either way, thanks once again for tuning in. I'm using _Intel. This was Worstcast with us, and we thank you so much for tuning. We'll see you next time.